Welcome to my world with Nat, Relocation Concierge. I hope you are doing great today. I'm kind of solo, as they say here, because I've been getting so many great questions from people who are viewing the channel. I just thought, why don't we just do a little FAQ? So I've jotted down some of the questions on my trusty cards, and I wanted to go over a few of these because it's information that you will need at some point. So know that, it may get outdated at some point. So, maybe check in to make sure. So first question I got recently was, what about phones in the DR? So we brought old phones with us, and we actually just replaced the SIM card. My husband has canceled his Canadian number. I have kept my Canadian number for now. It's the one number that's, linked to our life back there in Canada. But eventually we'll switch it over to a DR number. It was as simple as that. We went to Claro. There's a couple of companies that you can use here. We chose Claro. Our package is approximately 30 Canadian dollars. Oh no, I'm going to take that back. About 30 US dollars a month. And that grants us a number of minutes, and we can call Canada from that phone, and has data on it. So nothing big, because for the most part, just like at home, your Wi-Fi will kick into any place that you show up. So yes, you can use your current phone, bring extra phones if you have them. We had brought one and it came in handy actually. So that's it. If I need to do more on that, drop it in the comments. Next thing I had, this might be like a two-parter. One of the questions I got was, what were the steps that we took to make this adventure happen? It really started January 1st or December 31st, 2020, Jan 1, 2021, where we made the decision that this is something we were going to do. And we really didn't look, it wasn't like necessarily logical. So the timeline went like, we reached out to some real estate agents. On January 5th, we had our house appraised by a real estate agent. We staged it, we decluttered. Photos were taken of the house, and by January 25th, our house was on the market, and we had 40 scheduled visits. And this was during like the peak of COVID, where you couldn't be in the house while people were visiting. They had to take appointments. I think we ended up having just under 30 visits, because by the 28th we'd received an offer from somebody. So we honored it, which meant everybody else had to put their offers in. And that evening we did accept actually the last and final visit and offer. So when that happened, well, then I just went into high gear, put my businesses sort of on pause to manage what I called the project, and started selling furniture, giving furniture away to friends, decluttering like at the deepest root. And at the time, we did not choose to bring anything with us. So we left only with our suitcases. I'm gonna circle back to what you should bring a little bit later on, but for us it was just about decluttering the house, because we knew we weren't going to keep anything. That was already known, because it meant storage and it meant an extra cost, and we do have storage at this time with a company in the West Island of Montreal, and those are just really personal items that we've held on to: books, mementos, pictures, artwork, things like that. Our signing date at the notary got pushed, so we actually only signed for our house on the 25th of March, which pushed us very close to our departure date of April 1st. So that week was a little stressful. But we ended up staying in a wonderful Airbnb in Montreal that a friend owns. And on April 1st, we got on a plane in the evening and headed out. We ended up having to take 2 flights. So we flew to New Jersey, overnighted, and the very next morning was back on a plane, and we landed in the Dominican Republic on April 2nd. So The timeline for us, for some people, compared to some people who have decided to, go on this adventure, ours was rather long. Others have been under a month, under 2 months. I've worked with some clients where it's been very, very short term, like bang, we're doing this, and no questions asked. So any timeline is good. There's no right or wrong timeline. Next up, what do I want to talk about? Whoops. I want to talk about, and this came up yesterday in a coaching call that I was doing. I was being coached on some branding. And she said to me, I've been watching you, Natalie, and I love to travel, but I just don't think I could do it. My husband, he's sort of rooted here. I have my dog. And I said, okay, but who says that you have to relocate forever? And it was in that moment, that light bulb moment, that I realized with her, and it was actually had come up a couple times, but I've never really said it out loud, that relocation doesn't mean uprooting your whole life. Yes, we have uprooted our life and we've decided to be here, and we don't know how long we're going to stay. We're here now. But we had a friend stay with us for a couple of months, and that was, I consider, a relocation. She for a short period of time uprooted her life. So if you think that you need to sort of pivot everything, sell everything, get rid of everything, you don't. You might just want to come and try this. This might not be your jam. So consider that there is, I think relocation can be defined as short-term, long-term. And maybe there's something in between that looks better for you. Does that make sense? I'd love to know in the comments if that was a light bulb moment for you, because if you've been watching us and thinking, well, I'm not sure we can do this, maybe this is a new perspective, and maybe it's just a short-term option for you. Okay? Which is going to bring me right now to how the heck do you become a relocation concierge? And I love sort of telling the story because for the most part, in this little rebranding that I'm doing right now, I've been a public speaking coach for the last few years, really focusing on helping professionals, be at their best when they have to present, which is either interviews, conversations, big presentations. I love doing that. I love supporting people in that because it is a tough topic. It is tough to stand up in front of a group of people and share what you got to share. And when I came down here, I hired some coaches to sort of, I guess, help me navigate what my next step would be in this coaching process. And I found a niche, but it didn't feel so great. And about 4 months into the coaching program, was sort of confronted with this idea of, why aren't you just doing what you're doing now, helping people come down? Because I'd already started coaching people, answering questions, guiding them, and networking for them, showing them the way. And the idea of a relocation concierge for me right now is about how your voice evolves. So I'm looking forward to sharing this, but I'll just give you a little tidbit. It's really about say what you want, do what you want, and go where you want. And we are constantly evolving. And your voice is evolving. And I'm not talking voice like the vocals. I'm talking about that inner voice of what you really want. And, if you watch my video with Jessica Serrato, numerologist, this year's year 6. This is my ruling number year. And it's about choosing you, and it's about choosing the path that you want to be on as you move into action. So this relocation aspect of my business is just a piece of it. I continue to support business owners and professionals who want to speak their truth and show up and shine like they should when they present. So it's all sort of following on this under this umbrella, and I'm going to bring more of that in the next few weeks to everyone. Okay, so we've covered short and long term. We've covered how I became a relocation concierge, and I really tapped into our experience, because when we came down here in April, we had zero help. Zero. And you know, we did have a property managers that helped us out with a couple of things. So, you know, but for the most part, we had to navigate on our own. And if you're coming down with a family of 4 or 5, already you have a lot to manage. Trying to figure out where the grocery store is and how much, you know, meat costs is probably not on the top of your priority list. And that's where I can step in. What's next? You know, we talked budget yesterday with a client. What does that look like? And the reality is that you can live just the way you are in your home country of, you know, for us, it's Canada. But there are things that you'll find that are a little less expensive, and you have to explore that and look like. So you have to shop local. And that means you might even be buying your fruit off the side of the road. You might be buying your dinner off the side of the road. So, you know, yesterday I supported local and bought my chicken, my barbecue chicken right off the pit. The gentleman's on the side of the road. I didn't buy it from the grocery store. And I enjoy doing that because I feel like I'm giving back to the community in some way. It's only through chicken, but it still counts. Budget will depend on what you want. There's budgets for everybody, especially when it comes to accommodations. So I have clients that are in condos that are $850 a month, and we're always talking US dollars. And clients that have bought condos for $360,000, up until some people pay $1,800, $2,000, $2,300 a month. It really depends on what you're looking for, and that's what I help you do. Really hone in on what accommodations are going to work for you and your family. So, can you live off of a certain amount of money? One person asked me $100,000. Sure, you can. But there's so many things you have to keep in mind with that $100,000, okay? Is your child going to be going to school? Because you're probably going to be paying tuition. There are no free schools here. So you have to factor that in. Food, how much you spend a week at home. Are you going to spend the same here, or are you going to do less? You need to figure that out. And with a little guidance, you will find the way. Okay. Almost the last question. So, what do you bring when you come to the DR? What do you think you should bring? Now, I mentioned it earlier that we came with 6 full suitcases, 3 carry-ons, and our like backpacks or, handbags. That was it. And our thought process was, we're bringing a few essential things that we knew we would want. My daughter brought stuffed animals and a couple of games, things that were important to her. And I did the same. Now, in hindsight, could I have brought different things? I think I could have. But at the time, the idea of shipping things in a barrel had not occurred to me. It wasn't something that I cared to do, or honestly that I knew about. But as time went on, found out about the barrels, discovered their existence, tried it out before Christmas. So we had one barrel shipped at the end of October, and it arrived, if I'm not mistaken, the second week of December at the end of the week. And it was a very, very easy process. They drop them off, you fill them up, there's no weight restriction. And they deliver them right to your door. So if you are thinking like, I'm going to be there for a little while and there's some creature comforts that I would like to bring with me, do it. Bring your weighted blankets, bring your favorite kitchen utensils, bring your favorite kitchen cookware. I had not brought all my baking supplies, and man, I miss those baking supplies because I love to bake. Bring your good kitchen knives. Bring your good pans to cook. Maybe bring an extra set of sheets. Bring the things that I'm going to use a Marie Kondoism. Bring the things that bring you joy. It's not just about practicality, but the things that will bring you joy. Okay? And if you want the contact information for the barrels, we used Dominican Cargo. They're out of Montreal. They also travel to Ottawa. And if I'm not mistaken, there's one out of the Toronto area called BM Cargo. So those are good ones to use. And really seamless experience. I have to say, good communication. Arrived when they said it would arrive. Counseled well because they knew before the holidays, we wanted things to arrive before Christmas. Went really well. I was really happy. Last thing I want to touch on, healthcare. Now, if you're leaving short term, bring healthcare with you. Travel insurance. Definitely. That's what we did when we left. We brought travel insurance with us for 6 months with our provider. And then what you can do is you can eventually contact one of the providers down here in the DR, and they can give you a plan that will suit you. And there are multiple options for you and your family, different price points. And it's a monthly or a yearly payment, like monthly payments or yearly payment. And you get what suits you more. For those of you who have not seen the video about my husband, who actually experienced the healthcare system here back in October, we had a bit of a health scare. He was actually diagnosed as a diabetic, and he went through. It was a bit rough in the beginning of October, but ended up going to a hospital in Puerto Plata, and through a not a bad referral, but we got a referral, but then we were escorted down to the international office. So this office actually has English-speaking administration, English-speaking doctors, and they were fantastic. The minute we got into the emergency room, we went through triage. About 15 minutes later, discovered that his sugar content was really high, and then they put him in a bed right away. So, and then from there, it just went forward, and they helped him. And he got all the blood tests, all the scans, all the tests that needed done. He was overnighted for 2 nights, and follow-up with the doctor was $40. Now this, I'm going to preface by saying that we did not have healthcare insurance at the time because we had not renewed it once our Canadian one had expired. Our bad. However, surprised at what the cost was. So a cost for a follow-up visit to the doctor is $40 US, which is somewhat reasonable in the big picture. And his overall stay was 1,200 Canadian dollars for 2 nights and 3 days. It pinches the pocketbook, that's for sure. But in perspective of if we were somewhere else, it would have cost probably a lot more. So now, healthcare is always a priority for any family, especially if you're out of your own country. One of the things you can do if you live in Quebec, and please, if you're from another province, look into this. We actually extended our healthcare until June of 22. It's a one-time option you can do for yourself, for your family, and any expenses that you incur out of country, you can be reimbursed with. But go check in your provincial plan what that looks like. In Quebec, it's called l'année septennale. You can do it once every 7 years, where you can extend your healthcare while you're outside of the province. Okay, so I've covered everything that I wrote down. These were some of the FAQs that I've been getting in the last few days. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any extra questions you want me to know about, drop them in the comments. Make sure you like the video, share it if you can, and let me know your thoughts. I'm really curious to know where people are at, what this looks like for them. I'm hoping that this idea of short and long term has cleared up a few things for you. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name's Nat. I'm a relocation concierge here in the Dominican Republic. Whatever you choose to do today, have an incredible day, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, and bye for now.